Baby calves.
You may notice that one calf is more sensitive than the other. You may notice that you get tingly, nummy, pricky sensations on one but not the other.
Woo.
That is okay. That's completely normal. Just pay attention to the sensation. Put the amount of pressure that you are comfortable with. You can back off the pressure by putting your other foot in a bent position like mine so that I'm de-weighting as I lift my bottom up off the ground, versus what Kainoa is doing is adding weight as he lifts his bottom up off the ground. So whatever works for you, but as you find those spots that feel tighter, more tender, hang out on that spot for a little bit. Let that foam roller do its work. Soften up that connective tissue. The best time to do foam rolling is at the end of a workout because your muscles and your connective tissue are already warmed up. It's not awful to do it before a workout. You're just going to get a lot more benefit from doing it when your muscles and your tissues are warm. Now rotate that foot towards the inside.
Yep, getting the big toe side of that calf. If you find a good spot and it feels like your leg went dull or went numb, typically that's a good thing. You just want to hold it a little bit longer. Hopefully that feeling comes back, but give it about 10 seconds or so for that tinglingness to move its way up and down that leg and out of that area.
And what you can also add, if you're looking at the screen towards my foot, when you find a spot that's a little tight, a little tense, you can then kind of dorsiflex, plantar flex your foot, so just point and flex that toe. You can also windshield wiper your foot to get into the different three-dimensional planes or three-dimensional layers of the connective tissue that you're working through. Because all that connective tissue lies in a three-dimensional pattern over the muscles that you're trying to work through, so you can add those movements in to get a little bit deeper into the tissues, a little bit more thorough into that connective tissue or that adhesion. Okay,
let's move this foam roller. We're going to move it all the way up behind the knee. I'm going to have everybody, you can either go like Erynne, 2 legs on those foam rollers. I'm going to go with one because my right leg is a lot more sore than my left, so I want to give it a little more attention. So we're going to start just above the knee, and we're going to start rolling right into the bottom of that glute. So I got one foot on the ground to help maintain my balance. As that foam roller comes back towards me and I start pulling it back, I'm going to allow my chest and my head to drop down to my knee. That's going to put all my pressure down on my leg to push that foam roller in through the bottom. As I push away, I'm going to allow my chest to come back so that I can extend that muscle and push a lot of that flow out.
Just like we did on the calf, you can rotate laterally, medially, getting different spots, different areas of concentration in that hamstring. You may notice a lot of tightness as you work laterally towards that IT band, or you may be one of those very unique people that doesn't bother you at all. Roll to the inside, see if maybe you feel a little bit more of that restriction or that tightness through the groin. And make sure that you get all the way up past your greater trochanter, which is that bony thing that sticks out on the outside of your hip. Get up above that so that now you're into your lateral hip, your gluteus medius, your tensor fascia lata. You can even rotate backwards a little bit and get some of those posterior hip rotators. But you want to get into that area and not just focus on the IT band. The IT band is one great big long connective tissue sheath. So you'll be able to get some mobility by working on the foam roller with it, but to target the muscles that are above it and around it is going to be a lot more efficient because you also have the elasticity and the increased pliability of the muscles rather than the connective tissue IT band.
Switch legs if you haven't already. Starting flat. Get that leg up over and roll onto that IT. Woo. Ha. Good. After about 3 or 4 rolls, remember, go slow here. It's not a fast roll. We're not trying to get somewhere quickly. Trying to breathe through this stretch, through this motion. Get above that hip bone, that hip side bone, and once you get above that bone, just still below the waist, like me and Erynne are here, I want you to try and get to this position, that little 2 to 4 inch area there across the hip, and I want you to just roll across. You're just going to move that foot in front and move it behind. We're just letting gravity pull the hip over to stretch the front of the hip and pulling that leg back to get around to the top of the glute. Again, relax that plant leg. You can even straighten out that arm that's on the ground if you want to add more body weight down into gravity. If you have caught the pattern by now, the goal is to breathe out and relax through all of these motions. So similarly, those of you who have done yoga, right, we're stretching, we're feeling tight muscles in yoga, but we're trying to breathe and relax the muscles while we're doing it, while we're actively moving. It is precisely what we want to be doing during foam rolling as well. But we should be moving with a little bit more patience. Good. Start moving it over onto the quad. So now we've started from the calf, worked up the hamstring into the IT band, and now we're going to be face down onto the quads.
Oh, my favorite.
This is the money maker right here. So Erynne has both of her quads on that foam roller. She's being nice to herself because it's sharing the weight through both legs. I'm going to stay on my right leg first. So I have only my right leg on that foam roller. I'm going to allow my chest and my other leg to go down to the ground and relax. I could hang out here. There's a little bit of pressure on the inside of my adductor, my quad, but it's not enough to drive that stretch. In order to drive that stretch, I'm going to have to prop myself up. So I'm in a half a burpee stance right now. My left foot is still on the ground, so it doesn't feel too hard, doesn't feel that bad. You can stay with your forearms on the ground even. But from here, you're going to just slide the inside of that thigh. Don't go past your knee. We want to keep that attention above the knee right now to the inside of that groin. Try and get. Good. So I want you to pay attention to your toe position. So we have our legs spread open. Now, whichever leg you want to focus on, I'm focusing on my right leg, but even more so I'm focusing on the inside of my right leg. So if you notice, my toe is opened up so that the inside of my thigh can roll on that foam roller. And you don't have to roll all the way. You don't have to prop yourself up. You can walk your hands forward and back, walk your forearms forward and back to roll up and down that foam roller. Be patient.
If you have both legs on the foam roller like I do, you can actually just reposition your legs to hook your feet together to target the inside angle of your quads, getting down into the VMO as you get closer to the knee. I've been using a lot of that plank core stability that we've been building through class to just use that to leverage my weight through my elbows and pick my hips up to allow that foam roller to roll down towards my knees. And right now I'm getting into the VMO. Here I can unhook my feet and flip my feet so that they're pointing downwards to get the front angle of my quads. To get the lateral aspect, I can bring my legs closer together, flick my ankles outwards, and try to get more of that outward angle of both quadriceps at the same time. And again, like Kainoa said at the beginning of this, by putting both legs on the foam roller at the same time, this is going to disperse my weight across the foam roller and apply less pressure. So we're working a little bit more superficially when we have both legs on. But if that's the depth of pressure that you can tolerate, then go with that, and you can work up towards what Kainoa is doing if what he's doing is a little bit too sensitive. It's all going to be to your comfort level and what feels good.
Woo. Last little bit, I'm going to leave you in these last 2 minutes with a little ankle stretch. If you do have that foam roll at home, since we've gotten those quads, want you to get that foam roller behind you. Put it under the top of your shoelaces. If you're on the arches of your feet, you're probably too high with that foam roller, so get them on the top of your toe knuckles. From there, you can have our hands on the ground. We're going to lean, rock our hips side to side. I'm pushing my hips into my ankles. It's going to stretch the front of my ankles. We can also put our hands on that foam roller and lean back a little bit. You are in control of your own intensity, so don't just fall backwards. No trust falls here. But we're getting the top of that foot into extension and getting some freedom in those ankles. Good. Depending if you got a big roller like I do, you can put one hand down on one side and rotate. So you're adding that transverse motion through the top of your ankles. You don't need to reach or go anywhere. We're just adding that twist and that rotation. Woo.
Feels good.
Oh yeah. If you have one ankle that's feeling it more than the other, similar to those quad stretches, we can have one foot on the foam roller instead of both feet. It matters that you are being cautious of how much body weight you're putting into your ankles. We're already in a stressed out position here. Maybe your ankle has been beat up from running on concrete. So be nice, be nice, be nice. 3 to 5 minutes to ask away.
Thanks everybody
Thank
for
you,
coming
everybody.
today.